Now, as a follow-up video, let's turn those two landing pages from the Bricks Builder and the Xeon Builder into mobile and tablet friendly. So I'm in Bricks Builder right now, and just as a recap, if you didn't see the previous video, I've built this landing page using the Bricks Builder, using container and so on. So now let's see how it looks like on different mobile devices. So we have different devices here. So lower than 992, which is basically a mobile tablet, a tablet device and so on. So in this particular case, I think I will probably keep it that way. I know it goes a little bit on top of the image here. Maybe I could move the image, but it's not that big of a deal. And all the rest is pretty much alright as well. So I'm going to leave it like that for that screen size. Now let's go with the mobile landscape, which is a bigger phone on landscape, or just below the 768, which is the tablet, like for example an iPad. So again, this is alright. Now this goes from 3 column to 1 column, and I think it's pretty much alright. Maybe just put some spacing here. That would be a good thing, but beside that, I think it's alright. So in order to do that, I'm going to select my column here, and my container if you prefer, and I'm going to simply add some margin at the bottom. And when I do that, it's going to be only in that screen resolution, by the way. So maybe 30. Am I in the right place? Margin. Why is it not working? Let's see. Am I on the right spot? We aren't in the start training, so that's my container. I want to have the inner container, so probably it wasn't in the right spot. So let's put 30 here. There we go. Now let's go with the other one as well and do the same thing. 30 pixels here, and this one is already alright. Now of course here pretty messed up, sorry. So let's go in the featured class. I'm going to close some of those so it's going to be easier to follow up. Let's see. So featured class. Alright, so big container here. We have each container like that needs to be changed. So the problem here is probably we still have the 28%, and that's okay here. And this one doesn't have any percentage. If we set that to, I don't know, let's say 72% or 70, just to make sure. Okay, so 70 is alright. So it's probably just because of the border. So 71 or 70 would be alright. Let's go with 70, let's say. So I'm gonna have a little space. Of course here now, if I really wanted that to be equal, which would make more sense of course because of the border, then I can diminish or lower the space between the lines here. Maybe that's what I'm gonna do. So let's say I'm going to, first of all, well no, okay, I'm going to deal with that. And in the typography, let's change the line height here a little. So let's say no unit, let's say 1 EM by default. Oops, sorry, change that back. REM, let's say, root pixel. And let's see, .70 seems to be a little bit too much. Maybe 1.65, no, 68. Doesn't seem like it's moving. Only with rounded numbers. Let's see. There's a little tiny difference here, but I'm going to leave it like that. I'm going to accept it that way. So what I'm going to do is select the container itself again. I'm going to right click and say copy container style, and then I'm going to paste the container style for both of those. Save of time. And I'm going to do the same thing here for the text. Right click, copy text style, paste text style, and paste text style. Here we go. Now meet the owner. That's a little bit squish here, but here we don't have any space as well. So should I keep it on 3 columns? Should I make it 2 or 1 column? Let's see. This one is not that bad as long as if we simply put a little bit more space here. So let's say 15, and here 15 as well instead of 30. That's not that bad. Here, can I change that easily? This is inside a container as well. So that container already has the alignment, but do we need to set that as well for that screen size? Let's say it doesn't change anything if I just do that. Remember that the image here might be a little bit bigger, so let's try to change the size of that. So let's say instead of 45, if I set that to 30, let's say, and put that, oops, mistake here, delete container. Let's say, do we have float or things like that, by the way? Probably somewhere. But anyway, if I put some, I don't want to put some padding or margin because it shouldn't move if I do that. So is there a minimum or something like that that I need in order for that to move? And I don't see any other value. Don't remember the values that I had for the, am I in the right place here? No, not even in future class now. That's the image in question. That's the container. Okay. Let's see. Sorry. So if I click on my text and change the width of it, so okay, there we go. Up to something like 200. We're on the same line, and after that we go on the other line. So that's because of the spacing that we have somewhere like here, for example. Okay, that's to add some. So maybe we'll probably have some spacing somewhere on the row or something. Well, we have 15 pixels here. That's okay on 3 lines, so I think it's pretty much alright like that. This one here, we have 20 pixels to the right. If I set that to 0, let's say, and maybe to the left. I'm going to move that instead to the left. Let's say minus 25. More than that, 35 maybe. Okay. If I move that like that, and let's say don't put any padding here. That might help. No, not at all. Alright, so let's get rid of that. So again, this one will probably need to change the width of it so that it can go to this side. So 190, 200. 200 is enough. So we'll leave it like that. This one is alright, so that's okay for my landscape mode. And of course in portrait, then everything here is still applied, so everything is alright except this. Of course, makes no sense now to have a border like that, so either we put a border on the left or remove the border completely, and that's probably what I would do. We could put the image on top as well. Maybe that is something that we can do. Let's see. Let's first go with the right section. Don't want to be mixed. Alright, so this is a container, and each one has 2 columns, so 2 containers as columns, if we can say it like that. So if on mobile we put them one on top of each other like that instead, change the direction. Is it a good idea to keep the border or not? Let's see. Let's first put the image container here. Don't know if I need to change anything, but let's say if I stretch it, doesn't really take anything. So let's put that at 100 then, instead of this 28%. Okay, so if it takes 100, that's the biggest that we have. So let's keep it like that and align that to the center instead. So this one doesn't work, this one does. So centered like that. Have this one take 100 as well. And add, if we keep the border, we simply need to add a border to the left side as well. So border in box shadow, border, and on the left side, if I put one like that, does it do what I want? Not clear. Let's put a bigger one just to see it clearly. Yes, it does have it. Okay. It's just that one is so small. Okay, so I like that. So again, I'm gonna need to select my main container here. I hope I have the right one here. Copy container style, paste container style, paste container style. Then for the inner one, copy, paste, paste, and finally for that one, copy, paste, and paste. Of course, if I have done that from the start, I would have only have to do it the first time, because all the different sizes would have been applied at the same time. Now, the same thing for meet the owner section. I could put some space between the image and the box here, by the way, but I'm not gonna do that. But if you wanted to, well, let's see. If I want to do that here, simply add, let's say, 20 pixels here. So pretty easy to do. So let's take the time to do that. And again, I could have copied and pasted, but anyway. Right, so not too bad. That's cool. Should probably put some space here because we don't really see the border, but anyway, you get the point. Meet the owner. We have a couple of containers here as well. So I have the main container here and some container inside of them. So again, I guess I'm gonna have to go with the 100% for one column each. And this one is gonna have the content center line. And probably a good idea to put some margin at the bottom. So let's say it's 50 too much. At least 25. Those could almost stay in 2 columns, honestly. Let's say if I keep it like that, my container here, let's say 50%. And this one would automatically be, I guess, no, not automatically. So let's put that 50% as well. That's pretty good. So I think I'm going to leave it like that. I'm going to change that as well because this one, again, seems to be a little bit problematic. So let's change the value here. Sorry. Up 161, 63. So 168 is the last one, but of course they won't always have the same width. So let's go with smaller than that and maybe like that. And that's pretty much it. So now pretty satisfied with the structure, how it looks like with the bricks builder. Okay, this is what it would look like on an iPhone 6 and 7. Let's go with the iPad view. Well, maybe we could change that, and it's not centered anymore. So maybe it could work that a little. Spacing is not exactly as it's seen here. So let's say everything is centered here though. That's pretty weird, but it's, maybe I could change the size of the text here a little bit. So it's just between 2. So it's all right here, but if we diminish a little bit, not necessarily exactly. So responsive editing here, la la la. And I think we can type, by the way, yeah. Can come here and type 768 pixels, exactly what it looks like on the iPad. And I think that would have a breakpoint at this point if we change something. So first of all, it seems strange that it might not be aligned centered. Immediately on the start training. Looks like it doesn't select it. So let's see. This is my heading. So it is already set to be centered, it looks like. So even if we change something here, might not change anything currently, stretch or anything like that. So a little bit strange here. So the best bet is probably to change the typography size a little. Let's say right now it should be 18, so if I say 15, yeah, 15 is all right. If I do that for all of them, but of course you will probably want to go back to, if I do that with 768, so let's slide that there. Did it change it for that size? I think it did. So it didn't create a breakpoint, sorry. I thought it would at 768, but it's not the case. So that means that if I change it here again, let's say if I remove that value, or if I set it to be 18 again, if I switch, this one is okay, but if I set it to 768, I'll still have the same issue. Yeah. So it doesn't add a breakpoint. We should have a breakpoint. So anyway, I'm gonna leave it at 15. But of course, if it keeps it at 15, and that's the case, so I'm gonna have to increase it back at this screen size. So don't like that, honestly, but that's responsive design. All right, so anyway, same thing here. So anyway, don't want to spend too much time, but you see some quirks here, and since it's not using the same breakpoints, it's slower than and so on, it might be a little bit tricky on some devices, as you can see. Let's see how Xeon Builder will handle that. So first of all, breakpoints. This is where we see the desktop, then laptop, so a little smaller screen. Doesn't really change anything in this particular case. There, everything is all right again. Let's go with tablet view. We don't know which size it is exactly. We guess 768, but it's a guess. So can I change the position of the image at this point in time? Well, no, unless maybe if I switch the image for another one and do something like that. This is a way to change that. Well, it still shows. That's strange. Okay, so sorry, my mistake. I thought that on the desktop it was set to be centered, but it's clearly not if we see it that way. So position, it is centered. Let's say 50 just to make sure. Let's go back to tablet mode. Okay, that's okay now. So it was not exactly 50. Was not the point, is where the image is, but the position was not centered. Anyway, so that's okay. We'll keep it like that. That's okay too, if we have, of course, the right view. Not goes on two line this case, but that's okay. Here, font size might be too big, so that's the first issue. Maybe increase the image size as well, but we need to make a decision here, so let's go with the text. Let's change the text size a little. Typography, and it's probably, well, first of all, it should have been 15, and it was not, surely. So we can save the element, but we cannot duplicate a styling. So we'll have to do that for each and every one of them. Unfortunately, typography. And like I said, that should have been done, in fact, from the start, because the other one is at 15. So we would probably have to change the spacing if we do that, but still. Here, same thing. Let's say that my column here should have some padding on one side. So it's probably 30 here now. So let's do like the other and put 15 each side instead. That one would be alright. Let's view on mobile. So let's keep it like that, full screen, full width. This is alright. Whoops, and we don't see the others now. Alright, so the way that this one works, we're probably having another row here. So is that the right one? Which section is that? Okay, that seems to be that section. Okay, that's the right one. Okay, so that section now is should be set to be vertical. No, sorry, we do have something inside here. So that one is the one that has the 3 column, and so that one is the one that should be vertical. Why isn't it showing one under the other? Don't know if it's me, but should automatically be one on top of the other, but it's not. So let's see the wrapper. If I say that the wrapper should be 100 pixels, does it change anything? Not at first view. And this one, column grid 12, it doesn't change anything. That's strange. That's unexpected, to say the least. Let's say, how can we style that so that it takes so I don't want to have to put them lower to be one beside each other, so let's try to figure out. Alright, sorry, I was not editing the right one. So that's confusing because you highlight something and it's not the one that you are editing, so you need to edit the thing, but again, if you click somewhere else, you're not editing the right thing. There's no need to know unless you rename everything so that you can see it here. So it's confusing sometimes. So now if I set that one to vertical, that's okay. So looks like I didn't have the right one. Again, I need to click and edit every time. That's the most annoying part, to be honest. So let's put some spacing now as we did previously. Don't remember the amount, but at least 25 or something like that. And that one as well. So I like some flexibility that it gives us, but at the same time we must sometimes click on a lot of places. And yeah, I like the fact that sometimes we have 2 or 3 elements here, but that also makes one more click to do. So it's a good and a bad thing at the same time. Okay. Now same thing here, we go over instead of going under like it did in bricks. So now we must figure out how to change that so that this one doesn't go beyond what it should go. So let's say, of course, I could put a width. Let's say, for example, I don't know exactly which amount I should put, but as you can see, even if we put an amount here, the box will still take more. So it's not necessarily a solution here. So let's go with the entire box instead. So need to do something like that. That's a little bit annoying, honestly. Don't like that. We need to do that for each of them because there's no copy and paste. And yeah, well, 280 or 380. Yeah, 380. Yeah, in terms of responsiveness, it's not as good as an experience as what we have with bricks. And then of course I would need to change the text again and so on. Or what I could do, maybe what's that? Anyway, maybe what I could do is simply select all of that, let's say that row here, and say that I want the elements to align vertically, and then do what I did for the mobile size for the other one, which is simply put that column here to be full width. And that's really starting to be annoying. It's not in pixels, by the way, it's in percent. So this one would take the full width, hopefully. But the image is still pretty small. So why is that? What did we change here? So size. Should we do that? No. So as you can see, it's more annoying, and I can play around with that to do the same thing as I did with bricks, but right there the image doesn't work the exact same way, so that's already annoying. Here I cannot even select my thing. I need to really go inside the preview panel here. So need to figure out why the image is not expanding. Maybe it's obvious, but when we do two things at the same time, it's not necessarily a good thing. But anyway. Don't remember the exact width of the image anyway. So I could do something like that, but still don't know exactly. If we do something like that, well, okay, doesn't take into account the two child. Anyway, okay, that's because the column itself is not full width, I guess. So that's not necessarily a good experience. This particular case. Now I'm editing the column. The column should be 100%. It's not. Okay. Oh, here we go. I thought the column was 100%. Alright, so it's my mistaken way. Let's try to have it centered. It's not as easy as what we had. Here we go. And again, this one should be same thing, 100%. I need to have a lot of clicks to do that. Let's say 100%. And again, same thing for the border on the left side. And unfortunately, for this one here, 1 pixel. Oh, and I need to specify the color again. Here we go. And if I want to have a space between the two, let's say my column, since it's inside a column anyway, margin about, I don't remember if it was 50, but maybe 25 would be better. And then I would have to do that for all the three of them because, of course, unfortunately, there's no copy and paste option here. So, like that. Then, I hope this is where we are. This is where we are. So the column here, again, don't forget to click on edit. Annoying right there. This should be set to 100%, and it will have to be set to align center. This one will have to be set to 100 as well, so starts to be really long process for something that is not that hard. So you probably see, as I do, that in this kind of area, Bricks is way more intuitive and easier to use. So maybe not in the first part, that they were pretty close, but then this section here, trying to change that to be mobile optimized, let's say it like that. Wow, that's a challenge. That's really a challenge. Well, too late. Change it. Here we go. So this not. All right. So, long process. Well, Looks like I need to put that one centered as well. And finally this one. And you must click at the right place, by the way, because if you click here, you simply remove that. And if you click here, you had another nested level. So that can be a little bit, let's say, can curse sometimes. Don't know if I did something wrong here, because clearly not, they're one on top of each other, which was not the case for the other ones. So don't know what I did here. Looks like I forgot to put the bottom margin or padding here. Oh boy, like I said, pretty daunting. Well, why am I not on the right spot again? I clicked that and I selected that one, but it looks like I'm still not on the right place. It's probably the external one, and this is the one. Well, is this the one that I want? Should be. No, this is the one that I want. I want the internal one. Wow. And so tell me that this is easier than something like Elementor? Well, not really. Not really. I don't know why it seems to have a negative margin here. What did I do in order to have that? Nothing. That's strange. Anyway, so doesn't seem to have any border here. That's pretty strange. But anyway, I'm gonna leave it like that. And I'm pretty exhausted. Probably you are too. So again, for the 3 columns here, I'm gonna have to do the same thing for this one at the top and so on. Pretty tired right now of doing those things. Video was really long for something that should have been pretty short. So not too happy about the result here, to be quite honest. Let's view the post to see at least if we have what we've done so far. You see here it's a little bit too large again, so even though we set that to be on iPad, so not a good experience here either, to be honest. So I don't like that at all. I don't like the way it handles the flex box when we are on mobile and on tablet. So that's really a killer deal for me. I was pretty happy after the previous video. We decorated a lot of bugs and so on, but when I see something like that, well, don't like that at all now. Even though everything seemed to be right inside of that, I see that it's way too large again. We have a scroll bar. Well, we need to scroll anyway, so that's not good at all. So anyway, I hope that helped you make up your mind about those 2 builders, and I wish you a very good day. Thank you.